All right. You know her and you love her. You've seen her on MSNBC, Zeteo, AJ Plus, Uncensored with Piers Morgan, and up until recently, TYT. She is the host of this podcast. Everyone start clapping right now for Francesca Fiorentini.
Hi, everybody! Oh my God, I'm gonna get untangled. Yes, you hit it. Thank you so much for being here. Give it up for yourselves. You're awesome. We're gonna have a great show. My name is Francesca Fiorentini. I am the host of this podcast, the Bitchuation Room. It is a vibe, it is a thing, it is a live stream. We're gonna solve all kinds of problems tonight, mostly Los Angeles, problems people have tried to solve for years, you know, just the fires, Olympics, Mel Gibson, you know, like what do we do about him? But I'm really excited. This is like my personal little filibuster for the next hour and a half, you guys. Like, I will be soiling myself, but you won't know how, and you'll wonder how. No, I'm not gonna speak for that long, but it's gonna be so fun. Are you guys ready to get the show started? Fuck yes. Oh my goodness, that was bad. All right, we're gonna bring out my first panel. See, the Bitchuation Room is a panel, basically, of people who are like smarter and funnier than me. And then I just get to relax and like have them talk. It's great. My first guest is the co-host of the Bad Hasbara podcast. You've also seen him on Good Mythical Morning. He's also my husband. Please make it so loud for Mr. Matt Lieb. Sit there. Sit here. Don't leave any holes. It's weird otherwise.
Hi, wife.
Hello, husband.
Oh, hello. How is everyone? Hell yes.
You wore your nose snitching anytime dad ass fucking like tourist trap shirt that you got at Alcatraz once Trump reopens it.
It's laundry day. It was badly timed. All of my good shirts are being washed right now, so I figured I would go with something that.
And who washes your shirts?
The machine.
My favorite thing about Matt was like, I do my laundry. He does his own laundry. Let's just be real.
I do it.
He does his own laundry.
I do it.
But he was very angrily telling me like, I do my own laundry as he was loading his dirty clothes into the dryer. And it was one of those precious moments where you're like, you fucking don't know which one.
I was too angry to remember which one has wet and which one has dry. Okay? We got a sitter tonight, by the way.
Woo!
And I'm currently texting with her. She just stopped crying.
Amazing. Wait, she put her down kind of early, no?
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna give her shit for it. She's the babysitter. What am I gonna be?
She went to bed, Bree.
A little bit early, asshole.
A little early.
You're fired. But could you stay until we're back from the Elysian?
All right, let me bring out another guest on the panel. I hope he is ready. He is the host of The Damage Report, a daily show on YouTube. That's all you need to know about it. He's also a science and fantasy writer whose work you can read on his Patreon, Peanut Butter Storytime. Please make it so loud for John Iadarola.
Yeah!
You had no idea, did you?
We were talking about wrestling back there. I couldn't hear anything that was going on.
Oh, no wonder. You were completely blacked out.
Yeah.
like zeroed in.
We were talking about our child.
Yeah.
I remember my child now that conversation is done.
Yeah.
It's either between wrestling and, oh, fuck, I'm a father.
Yeah.
I love it. John, how you feeling?
Pretty good. I mean, glad to be here. Glad to have you all here. The news has been super depressing, but I'm going to try to push that to the back of my mind.
It's going to get good.
I
Trust
know.
me. We're solving it, remember?
Yeah.
Applause, applause, applause. There's no... And finally, she is the co-host of the LA podcast who cut her organizing chops with the LA Bus Riders Union. Please make it so loud for Rachel Reyes.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Rachel. How are you?
I'm doing well. I sat in 2 hours of traffic, so I'm a little cagey, but we're here. We're doing well.
Yeah, this is, and also on like the hottest day of the year so far, certainly not of the year. Let's start summer now. And it lasts until when? December. That's when it lasts until in this fucking town. You grew up here, right? Sorry, this fucking town.
Yes,
Beautiful
yeah.
town.
Grew up in
Beautiful
the
town.
Valley as well, which is much hotter than it is here.
yeah.
Valley, 818, where? Yes.
Yeah, Valley. 818, make some noise. All right, 310, make some noise. One guy, yeah.
The funny story about 310 is Matt always answers the phone. So I don't know, does anyone answer the phone anymore? You guys pick up phone calls? No, you're not fucking psychopaths or bored. Matt Lieb does both, especially when it's 310, because he thinks like Hollywood is calling. He's always like, yes, I'll take the job.
Oh,
for
Mr.
me?
Spielberg, hello. Yes, I would like to play Jaws in Jaws. It's always a telemarketer.
Do you pick up a 310 just cause?
I will pick up 213.
Okay.
Yeah, real ones, no, not 310.
Oh,
It's fucked
okay.
up.
Just a tip for
What
you.
about a
Matt.
415?
213.
That's me.
San Francisco.
Oh boy, anybody.
Shout out to the Bay. Who's from the Bay?
That's fine.
We're just gonna keep doing this. There's no podcast. It's just like, where are you from?
Just
Who
area code.
likes cheese?
Shut up.
Yeah.
There is a show. It's called The Bitchuation Room. Everybody give it up for my producer, Paige, who's going to be running our slideshow. Paige is here. She flew out of Newark. Can you believe it? She lived to tell about it. She's flying back. Who knows? It's not my responsibility when she's gone. But I'm very excited because we start off our show the same way every single day, every single week, a couple times a week. The point is with what are you bitching about on this fine May? Rachel, let's start with you. What are you bitching about?
Well, I want to preface my bitch with saying we should definitely have protected bus lanes, protected bike lanes, expand it, right? Make it harder for me to drive. But
We just make the lanes smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. I think that's how we actually have fewer cars.
I'm fine with that. We are in this current reality where that is not the case. So my complaint is with permit parking and making 2 lanes, 1 lane after dark. And I say this because if we're going to prioritize cars in the city of LA, then we should prioritize the flow of traffic. Yes. I live on a very big street that turns 2 lanes into 1 lane when it's dark at the weekends, and it just causes chaos if you're not from the area, if you're not aware of it. It creates accidents. So that really fucking bothers me.
2 lanes just become 1 lane when
Become
you
1.
can't see anything?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wait, I'm sorry.
I've never heard of this.
Yeah, how do they do that?
Really?
What's the
Oh, it's in
rationale?
Hollywood. It's on the west side. It's
Meaning
very
cars are parking in that second lane.
Yeah,
I
exactly,
fucking hate
exactly,
this.
Exactly.
I do know what you're
That's
talking about. I
exactly
hate
what I
that
mean
more
now.
than anything.
That's why you're accelerating into a
Yes.
parked car.
Yeah. And then everyone's trying to cut you off because they didn't realize those cars were parked and not just stopped because that's how bad traffic is. So
Yes.
it just looks like everyone's backed up, but they're parked.
I
'cause
totally
it's a
forgot.
Saturday.
I'm mad remembering this thing. I fucking hate that.
Right. And it's, my beef with permit parking is that it's anti-worker because there's a lot of people who work off of Melrose or Montana or these really big streets who do not have access to parking lots or parking spaces, and you would think they should be able to park, a block away from their shop. No, we're having them walk half a mile away to where it's not permit parking. I hate permit parking. It's an extension of an HOA mindset, which is ruining the city. And you don't get the street more than me because you live there.
Yeah, I got a smart car in San Francisco because I didn't have street parking.
Right.
Like, downsize your fucking car is what I'm trying to say. All right? Do the responsible thing.
It was little. She was in the littlest car you've ever seen.
Because there was one space that, like, me and a motorcycle would fight over every single day. But yes, permit parking is completely ridiculous. And the fact that it doesn't extend to, like, workers who are like, oh, every day I go to this business, I work here.
And you're like walking half a mile both ways, which also just isn't accessible if you're a wheelchair user and you're working in a shop. You have to then, it's...
We're starting local. I love it.
I love it.
I love it. Give it up for Rachel in this... We fight for it's true. Let's move to what I'm bitching about. We're gonna zoom out or zoom in. I don't know. A lot pettier. Because this week, a man with a Lego man, a Lego man who's tried every kind of protein powder. Nothing quite works for him. He is the deputy director of the FBI. He's listening to our podcast right now. Someone's been paid to be here on his behalf. His name is Dan Bongino. And before being the FBI deputy director, he was a podcast host. He was doing this.
There's hope for all of us. We can make it someday.
And this week, he was on Fox and Friends, and he just had one of those moments where he was being very real with what should have been a fluff interview to be like, all the crime I'm fighting. And he's, by the way, reopened the case into the baggie of cocaine in the White House during the Biden years, which I'm like, oh, so you're going to complain that he's sleepy and complain about a baggie of cocaine? You can't do both, okay? Yeah. You got to support that baggie. At least somebody was trying to make the old man do something. The point is, this is Dan Bongino reflecting on his time at the FBI, and it's only, what are we, like 4 months into this? 5 months? Paige, hit it.
I mean, I gave up everything for this. I mean, my wife is struggling. I'm not a victim. I'm not Jim Comey. It's fine. I did this, and I'm proud I did it. But if you think we're there for tea and crumpets, well, I mean, Cash is there all day. We share it. Our offices are linked. He turns on the faucet. I hear it. He's there he gets in at like 6 o'clock in the morning. He doesn't leave till 7 at night. I'm in there at 7:30 in the morning. He uses the gym.
I love how the other guys are
apartment. But I stare at these 4 walls all day in D.C., by myself, divorced from my wife. Not divorced, but I mean separated. And it's hard. I mean, we love each other, and it's hard to be
You're doing some great work. You straightened out it.
Okay. I don't know if you can go back a little bit, Paige, to this face, but there's a face he makes because Brian Kilmeade is so uncomfortable. He's like, I mean, you're doing a great job. It's okay if you can't. You're doing a great job, and he just kind of stares at him. But I love how, like, he's trying to explain a real job to these 3 other people.
I have to get up every day.
It's 6 a.m. And Kash Patel, he's talking about Kash. Kash is the director of the FBI. He's there at 6 a.m. Doesn't go, yeah, I would expect that he works a long day. It turns out it's hard to work in government. And it's a little different than having a fucking podcast out of your home studio.
He's talking about it like it's Nam. My wife misses me every day. I'm watching
she
my
writes
back
me
for
letters.
Charlie. The man in the black pajamas might jump out. It's like, bro, you just have an actual job.
He talks about the 4 walls as if they're closing in on him.
Yeah, there's 4 walls. There's a ceiling. There's a place where I do doo-doo. And they say I could do pee-pee in there, but there's another thing for pee-pee.
I also think he's talking to people who have the easiest job in media, but he's also focusing on literally the only thing that's tough about their job is they go live at like 6. They're probably up at like 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
Like you found the one way for them to not have sympathy for you.
Really. The early morning. Have you seen this? Him complaining about this?
No.
I mean, it's just incredible because, like, he got in this job, what, John? To, I don't know, make liberals
persecute
cry?
his political opponent. Also, he says he gave up everything. I've interacted with this guy. He didn't give up that much. Ghost-written books, a lazy podcast, starting fights on Twitter.
A bunch of, like, tough guy Temu shirts.
Yeah. That's something. I
gave up my #1 podcast spot on Facebook.com. so that I could come here and work under the real FBI
Work
guy.
under Cash Patel.
Cash Patel.
I hear him turning on the sink every day, washing his hands. He's freaking out.
Putting tuna in the microwave. It smells up the whole office. And then fucking Carol's in there. It's like he's just bad at working in an office.
Yeah, I love that he's making it seem as if this is hard for all of them, but he's just gradually growing madder and madder every day.
He's remembering all the things that happen in an office.
But honestly, this is like the most I've ever loved Dan Bongino, because like this is how I am at a real job. I'm like, I can't fucking do it. I gotta go back to my podcast. Let us move on, because there's more news. Matt, what are you bitching about? This is a big one.
Okay, this is a big one. I'm bitching about.
First, let's set it up a little bit, because everybody knows Matt is a co-host. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we're just normal.
You do it.
Matt is the co-host of the Most Moral Podcast.
That's right. Yes.
That's right.
And, so it's like I talk about Hasbara, Israeli propaganda and whatnot. And I've seen a lot of it over the past, however many years it feels like now. But, one of the reasons that we bonded like early on, besides media and comedy, was we're both big Radiohead fans. Huge Radiohead fans. Like I think we've seen them live like 4 or 5 times during the pandemic. We watched their live sets and built puzzles. It was like a thing. It was a thing. And Tom York has remained steadfastly silent during a genocide. And I have just been growing more and more disillusioned and madder and angrier and angrier. All of these other artists started, finally, saying, hey, genocide is bad, And then most recently, Imagine Dragons unveiled.
Why is that so crazy? I don't know the band well enough to be.
They're awful. Now, here's the thing. I know some of you like them. That's fine. That's totally fine.
They have a few good songs.
I'm sure that they have songs that if you listen to them, you'll go, okay.
It's like Sugar Ray taking a stand.
Oh, I would much rather have Sugar Ray.
You're like, thank God.
I just want to die. And so Imagine Dragons unveiled like a Palestinian flag, and I tweeted out something like, oh my God, Radiohead has now been lapped by fucking Imagine Dragons. Like every band that started, or like people starting to say stuff. And this tweet went viral. And then a day later, which is today, Tom York finally put out a statement about Gaza. And I'm not saying I did it, because here is a little bit of the statement.
Oh, boy.
What I'm bitching about is this part of the statement. It starts out with, it's 8 different like text slides, which gross. What are we doing? And it's all just like, I can't believe people were interrupting me saying free Palestine, and I was just trying to do my songs. I'm doing my little diddles and people yell at me from the dark.
It's Malaysia, isn't it?
It's Malaysia. It's like, but if you need me to say something, obviously, I'm against Netanyahu. I think they're criminals. All this stuff. And I was like, okay, all right, that's a little whatever. Terrible. Then slide 4, he says this. While our lives tick along, it's normal. Sorry.
Stop the accent.
Well, the lives is normal, yeah. Well, the David Beckham fish is cheap. And thousands of innocent human souls are still being expelled from the earth. For what? At the same time, here we go. At the same time, the unquestioning free Palestine refrain that surrounds us all does not answer the simple question of why the hostages have still not all been returned. For what possible reason? Next paragraph. Why did Hamas choose the truly horrific acts of October 7th? The answer seems obvious, and I believe Hamas chooses to hide behind the suffering of its people in an equally cynical fashion for their own purposes. Both sides, an
Boomer,
actual genocide.
the most Gen X boomer. I mean, sorry, no, that's fucked up to say, but you feel like he's really showing how out of touch he is.
It is like, to me, to understand like his politics beforehand, it was like during the Bush years, you know, he put out this album, Hail to the Thief, very political. First song, 2 + 2 = 5, fucking great. Banger, banger, banger.
Entire album, yeah.
So good. And like he was so much, the band was always political. And the silence, the deafening silence that has happened over the last 18 months has really like pissed me off. And finally, he says something, and what he chooses to say is, how come all of the hostages haven't been released? Which, if you know anything about this subject matter at all, the reason the hostages have not been released is because Israel does not give a single flying fuck about any one of the captives, the Israeli captives inside of Gaza, nor do they, of course, give a flying fuck about any of the thousands of Palestinian captives who are currently in Israeli jails. And I know he knows this. And it's like, to me, it just kind of like, I don't know, it just reinforced what I thought, but I hoped wasn't going to be the case, which is that he's kind of a liberal Zionist.
Yeah.
And now I have.
But he's got a new song.
I
couldn't get past the moody warbles of the first 10 seconds. I was like, I don't care.
You know
Fuck
what?
you.
Yeah, I'm not into this like emo warbling anymore if it's going to be pro-genocide.
That's right.
I'm okay with it, you know?
So is that it?
It's a good thing to bitch about. That's huge.
Yeah, that's. I mean, there was more to it.
No, I mean, is that it for you and Radiohead?
I
Are
mean.
you done?
Yeah. Is that it, Matt? Move it along, sir. There's a show at 9.
That was at most the subtext. I
Yes.
mean, are you going to go to their concerts anymore?
Well, I think it's important to separate the artist from.
Yeah, of course. I still go see Woody Allen. No, I'm just kidding.
Is
no.
HBO doing a show of Radiohead? Because then maybe.
I know, right? Like, honestly, I will not go to Radiohead shows. I can't. The thing is, I can't support that anymore, because it's not just about like, oh, I'm doing it because fuck that. It's also because it severely fucks up my enjoyment of the music. You know what I mean? Like, all of a sudden now.
But it's like not as awkward as being a Kanye fan right now.
Right. True.
Like,
some people, I was complaining backstage, and some people were just like, oh yeah, that must suck real bad for Radiohead to be your favorite band. My favorite artist was Kanye. I was like, yeah, that's worse. That is worse. I never thought about how that's worse.
He's got a new single called Heil Hitler.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
That is a great thing to bitch about. Let's wrap this up with John Iadarola. We have visual aids for what you're bitching about, but do you want to set us up?
Yeah, I'll set it up. Okay, so I think you probably all know that we have this big bill, the one piece of legislation the Republicans are actually going to pass, and it's got everything.
What are you calling the bill?
I don't know. Somebody on my show called it the big ugly bill, and I felt like that's degrading and also childish enough that makes me feel better about a situation I can't fundamentally change. Yeah. But anyway, they're giving trillions to billionaires. They're screwing over people on Medicaid. And then they throw in all these little things, little anti-vax things, little things stopping research into guns, little things to make it harder for judges to enforce their decisions. It's got everything. And they're gonna pass it because they have to pay back their donors. And we know that. Republicans get elected, they hand trillions of dollars to the rich people. That's expected. All I want is for them to not spit in my eye while they're doing it. Yeah. And they can't even do that, as you'll see in this clip with Joni Ernst at a town hall.
When you are arguing about illegals that are receiving Medicaid benefits, 1.4 million, 1.4, they are not eligible, so they will be coming off. So people are not, well, we all are going to die. For heaven's sakes, folks.
Profound.
Yeah. Not untrue, but kind of unhelpful, I think. Cosmically and politically. And I don't need to explain to her how that was not the right thing to say. From her smile, she figured it out a little bit too late. She's in a town hall where people are already hostile. And she says, all of you worried about the poor's dying. they were gonna anyway, man. Like, look, I'm not a fan of Republicans stopping doing town halls, but maybe that's a better direction to go in. And they feel freed up. All of them are freed up by Trump in different ways. They don't all speak exactly like him, but they've all been freed up to think, there's really no checks on any of this. I can say whatever I want. Scandals don't exist. They pass instantly. I can spit in your face right now, and we're still going to hand over trillions of dollars.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's like 2 Republicans who are pretending that they still care about.
Holly
is like, no, but okay if we have to, right? He will. He'll go along with Rand Paul, of course. That dude's an island unto himself. Paige and I were talking, because Paige is from Iowa, and I was like, who's the other Iowa senator? And we were like, oh, Grassley. And it's amazing, because actually, Chuck Grassley, instead of doing town halls, people just sort of write their responsive and roll it up and put it into his skeleton. And they just sort of, as he lies in a coffin, and they sort of roll up their concerns, put it in a skeleton, and then move on.
I will read this when the sun goes down. It's a vampire, that's the voice.
Let's get into it, guys. We're going into the week where so many things happened this week, obviously. We're going to get to a little bit of them. We're going to have some fun. We also have Councilmember Eunisses Hernandez, who's waiting in the wings. Very excited. But this is the week where... The time has come, ladies and gentlemen, for Elon Musk to terrorize a different group of people, okay? He's going to move on. In fact, today marks the end of his, truly, the end of his tenure as a special government employee, okay? He goes poof, right? He starts walking straight like Kaiser Soze. He's gone. Now, we don't know why he's actually gone. Was it all the sperm he kept offering during the meetings? Got very awkward. We may never know. He obviously was the head, but he wasn't the head. But he was the head, but he wasn't. He wasn't. He was the head of DOGE, or DOGE. If you don't know what DOGE is, it's like a team of angry white virgins who learned how to hack instead of having a normal conversation with other people. They were supposed to find waste, fraud, and abuse in the federal government. Instead, they found all of our private data and they hoovered it up. DOGE, Elon insists, is not going anywhere. But as for him, he says, as my scheduled time as special government employee comes to an end, I would like to thank real Donald Trump for the opportunity to reduce wasteful spending. The DOGE mission will only strengthen over time as it becomes a way of life throughout the government. Yes, it's actually very zen, in fact. He, in fact, doubles down on just how zen it is today in the Oval Office.
Let me say perhaps a few words that this is not the end of DOGE, but really the beginning. My time as a special government employee necessarily had to end. It was a limited time thing. It's 134 days, I believe, which ends in a few days. So that it comes with a time limit. But the DOGE team will only grow stronger over time. The DOGE influence will only grow stronger. It's I liken it to sort of Buddhism. It's like a way of life.
I have become Doge. Doge is one with me. Like, what is it? I am the Force. Yeah, I am the Doge. The Doge is one with me.
I am the Doge, and the Doge is with me. I am the Doge,
and the Doge is with me.
Rogue One.
Rogue
better
One,
after Andor.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, you get it.
I instantly.
Does he have a black eye?
He does.
He does have a black eye. Very good, Matt Lieb. Not planted, not planned.
No, really. Does he really?
Really?
He explained that it was just horsing around.
He explains
with Macron's wife.
He explains it in the next clip.
Like.
Now he says that actually he was horsing around with his 5-year-old child, whose name is X. But first, he attempts a joke. Take a listen.
I want to ask quickly, Mr. Musk, is your eye okay? What happened to your eye? I noticed there was a bruise there.
Well, it wasn't. I wasn't anywhere near France, so.
God,
that makes me regret my joke.
I didn't notice it.
First lady.
You didn't know anything this joke?
I didn't notice.
I was just messing around with Little X, and I said, "Go ahead, punch me in the face," and he did. Turns out, even a 5-year-old punching you in the face actually does.
That was X that did?
Yeah.
X could do it. If you knew X, you could do it.
You knew X. X don't give it to you.
I didn't really feel much at the time, and I guess it was. But I just watched
Matt.
it.
I didn't notice it.
Indeed. This is what we said.
X gon' give it to you. Fuck, wait for you to get it on your own. X gon' deliver to you.
You take the laugh. You got the laugh.
Stop, pop out.
You got it.
We know.
Sniped it.
We know each other too well.
It was Paige's joke.
All right. Well, we know each other too well.
What's going on between you two? The point is, his son beat the shit out of him, you guys. And like somehow, I feel like maybe Elon, all of his kids are actually quite cool. Like, remember the other one who was in the Oval Office? Was like, I don't like you.
Yeah.
And now this one beat his ass.
I love it. I love that he's like accidentally making an army of Elon haters.
I'm not a parent, but if you tell your child to hit you, should they? Is that good parenting, bad parenting?
I mean, I don't know if it's good parenting or bad parenting. All I know is it's based. Like, very cool. Cool kid. Like,
I feel like it was something like, this feels like he hit the kid and was like, oh, it's okay, you can hit me too.
I actually think it was more like him being distraught over like losing his special government position. It was just like,
he had to give up the badge.
Just punch me in the face. Punch me in the face right now. I need it. Punch me in the face.
Am I alive? Is this real?
Yeah. He's sad and he needed to get his ass beat. And X gonna give it to you.
I think that like turning to the person closest to you and asking for them to hit you is like the clearest proof of his drugged out nature. Like
100%.
That's guy just finished a 40 and he's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
I can take it.
Come on, bro. I built like
Yeah.
a
But
Cybertruck.
He's not that brave. Remember, he turned out a fight with Zuckerberg, so he's like, let me find a kid.
Put a pin in the drugs. We're going to get back to that. But of course, he goes on to claim in this interview that Doggy has saved up to $160 billion. But actually, Paige and I did our own calculations from the Bitchuation. That's ironclad math there. That math is mathin'. Those are the only big balls we care about.
This is like extra offensive to Elon Musk because it's cum not going into a little like jar that goes.
It's wasted.
Yeah. Don't waste it. That's good seed.
DOGE is actually riddled with errors, like all of their accounting. They've written billions instead of millions in one case. Oops. They constantly say they've canceled contracts and saved money, and then those cancellations will be deleted from their website. What have they cut? I mean, acronyms mostly. I mean, whatever, like FEMA, whatever, FAA, NIH, nobody cares. 10% of the federal workforce has been fired. Agencies like the National Parks, Housing and Urban Development, USAID, which cut its PEPFAR program, which is HIV prevention, that's already cost the lives estimated of 54,000 adults and 5,800 children. This costs literally nothing. But, more weapons to Israel, right?
Hell yeah.
And in the irony
Shout
of all
out Tom
ironies...
York.
Shout out York, cut this for him, man.
Yeah.
Apparently, because of lost productivity, the cost of putting all this staff on leave, and then, rehiring the people who were in charge of our nuclear weapons or whatever, Doggy is actually costing the government $135 billion, according to some estimates. So, 160 minus 135. I mean, what is our math? Yeah, that's, you know what I'm saying? Now, I just want to ask thoughts, because the question really is Elon going anywhere? He also says he's only working 2 days a week. John, how many days was he working before? And isn't an hour too much?
I mean, one of the first things he brought to Washington was a gaming PC, so I'm not sure how hard he was working to begin with, but getting him from 5 down to 2 is something. Driving him out of DC is something. I just don't want people to get apathetic, because I think we can drive him so much further away than just leaving DC. He's got rockets. If we mock him enough, we might get him to leave the planet.
Rachel, what do you
He'd
think?
be safe from his kid up there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What do you think? We've seen. Is he just backing away to make it look better for himself and for his company?
Well, he legally had to. Like, he only had a certain amount of time as a special government employee. So he can come back next year if he wanted to. It's per 365 days, right? So I don't really understand this messaging of like he's backing down. He's just doing what he legally had to do.
Yep.
And I think everything he's done, if you've worked a corporate job, makes a lot of sense. Even if you've worked in retail, you're cutting jobs and then not replacing those jobs. So the 10 people are now 5 and they're still doing 10 people's jobs. And actually now your boss thinks you have to hire a consultant to do all the other work that's not getting done by the 5 people because the other 5 people left. So he's running it like a corporation. So I think in that way he was successful with DOGE, but all of us suffer and everyone around the world suffers. But I don't think he said him and Trump still have a special friendship, relationship, whatever you want to call it. So, you know, that's what that is.
It's really terrifying that you just put the idea in my head that he could be back January 2026.
Yeah, he totally could be. Yeah.
Just like as a late Christmas present, like starting off the new year, right? Yeah, and to Rachel's point, like there's still about 100 employees at DOGE. They've already done so much harm as they just outlined. They're trying to get access to more departments. They're building this massive database to surveil and track immigrants. I feel like they're like a dormant STI, you know what I mean? Like they're gonna flare up, it's gonna be bad.
Right.
But like I don't even know if there's I don't know, I've never had gonorrhea or something, but I feel like it sounds like the worst one.
It's kind of herpes. It's just like, you know, you're going to need medication every couple of months in a, you know, time of deep stress.
A centrist Democrat. That's what we'll need every 4 years. And the next 4, they can just hand it back over to an actual fascist. Speaking of the drugs, we learned today that there was quite a lot of them in Elon's Oval Office. This is according to the New York Times. Mr. Musk's drug consumption went well beyond the occasional use. He told people that he was taking so much ketamine, a powerful anesthetic, that it was affecting his bladder, a known effect of chronic use. He took ecstasy and psychedelic mushrooms, and he traveled with a daily medication box that held about 20 pills, including ones with the markings of the stimulant Iadarola. What are those markings, Matt? It was like the cave paintings?
Why you asking me? I don't know anything about my daily milligrammage of Adderall. I needed to wake up and to concentrate.
Yes, you actually.
And to make beats at night. Sometimes I just gotta make beats and play Diablo.
I don't know what that is. So this is insane, and I can't believe why would people think that Musk was on this many drugs? I mean, where have we seen him seem kind of high?
So, I mean, we're trying to get good things done, but also have a good time doing it, and and have like a sense of humor, you know. So, I mean, the sort of the left wanted to make comedy illegal, you know? Like, you can't make fun of anything. So then it's like, comedy sucks. It's like, nothing's funny. You can't make fun of anything. It's like, legalize comedy. Yeah.
The comedy sucks now. Why does he talks like a fucking cartoon cat from the 90s? Everything sucks.
I really appreciate the host absolutely not blinking or even laughing out of politeness.
He didn't make a joke. He talked about how cool it was to make jokes.
What if this was a joke?
The same thing.
Now, obviously, there's the Tesla angle. We've seen him nearly cry because Tesla is in the shitter. I mean, and which is crazy because it's still overly inflated. It's doing very well. But thanks to so many protests around the country, around the world, if people participated in the Tesla takedowns. If you did, please keep going. If you haven't, go. It's easy. It's chill. It's like Teslas dealerships are always located around some ice creamery that's nice. You know what I mean? Like it's always, It's like you go get fucking ice cream after whatever, but let them know. Profits have been down from Tesla for 71% in the first quarter of the year, which is fucking insane for an EV company because EV sales are on the rise right now, still. Down 15% in California, 49% in Europe, 9% in China. And again, this is all while sales are rising and also like his stocks are still artificially good, like generally good. But I want to just bring up a really distasteful new angle to all of this, which is Stephen Miller's wife. Her name is Katie Miller, you guys, and she was, up until this point, she was working in the government. I can't remember what she did, but she was one of the first appointees to DOGE. She's also the mother of Stephen Miller's child. And Stephen Miller, of course, had some nice words for Elon, the work DOGE has done to eliminate the government waste and the corruption. The rot embedded in deep within Washington is among the most valuable services ever rendered to the government, and the work has only just begun. But here's the thing. Apparently, Katie Miller, his wife, is leaving government right now to go be Elon Musk's personal assistant. And the rumor mill of DC has it that they might have a thing going, and that maybe Stephen Miller deliberately wanted that thing to be going so that he could have a special ear to Elon Musk directly.
He's a cuck. He's cucking.
We have like a little...
The cuck shell?
Yeah.
It's like a conch shell, but a cuck.
Yeah, we have like a little Star Wars critter come out. And they get rolled away.
Was that
like
Amon Calamari go, it's a cock? Was that what you're... as Admiral Akbar?
Yes, you know
it's
you're...
a cock. That's fun. We'll do that
I
at
call
home
him Colonel
now.
Calamari on your show. The point is like he was a cuck, but not just a cuck, a cuck for cost savings. You know what I mean? This is like a next level cuck.
You should shop at Cucksco. They're not all gonna be bangers.
Like, this is the plot line to the movie Indecent Proposal, but if it wasn't hot. You can sleep with her. Well, she's kind of a 4. Anyway. Sorry. No, she's very beautiful. I mean, look next to this guy. She's having a great fucking time. So apparently she's gone. John?
It must seem to him, because he's very impressed with his own intelligence, he must think this is the perfect thing, because like Elon Musk desperately wants to impregnate everyone he sees, but he's Elon Musk. Look at him. She's not gonna fall for that, but he forgot what he looks like. Yeah. Musk might seem charismatic compared to a couple years with that.
Yeah.
But he's an immigrant. How could you be with an immigrant?
Yeah.
It's like, well, he's
the ultimate insult.
Yeah.
Yes.
I really hope they find love together. I really do.
That's right, because he's from South Africa. So like for Stephen Miller, this is almost as bad. Like for him, he's gonna be racist about it.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is gonna be like the plot of all of his worst nightmares and all of the porn he watches when no one sees.
All the search terms combined. All right, well, we have one little send off to Elon. We're still, he's not going fucking anywhere, but here we go. Oh, yeah. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. All right, moving on to more local pressing matters. Obviously, we know the people here in LA stand with the people of Gaza and Palestine, right? Why was that so? In fact, thank you guys so much for being here, because a portion of the proceeds of this show are going to go to 3 families in Gaza. So thank you. However, not everyone stands in solidarity in this town. In fact, some people in quite high positions of power in this government here in Los Angeles very much carry water for the genocidal state of Israel. And so this is our segment called To Live in Zion, LA. Now, nationally, obviously, we know it's Trump and Marco Rubio who've been locking up pro-Palestine protesters. But let's not forget the little guys, the local guys, like LA City Attorney Heidi Feinstein Soto. That is her right here. She is currently pursuing charges against 31 protesters for blocking the 110 freeway, protesters with the If Not Now, Jewish anti-Zionist organization. Yes, shout out to them. And she is now being a little bit investigated because it turns out that not only are these charges never sought upon people who block highways. It's like they're usually not trespassing charges. They're just people are dismissed once they're cleared. But also, she's shown her hand about which side of the Israel-Palestine issue, genocide, she stands on. She follows this account, the Jewish Boys. Nice Jewish Boys. Thank you. Nice Jewish Boys. LA Candidates Watch said, why does City Attorney LA Heidi Feinstein Soto follow the viral Kill All Palestinians podcast, Nice Jewish Boys? Play the next clip of what they talk about on Nice Jewish Boys.
I would, if you gave me a button to just erase Gaza, every single living being in Gaza would no longer be living tomorrow, I would press it in a second.
Lovely. Very nice. Nice Jewish Boys. She follows them, weirdly. And here she is, Spectrum One did some incredible reporting. Here she is having to answer for this. And it gives you more of
In fact, Judge Mark Wyndham found some evidence of biased prosecution in a recent order after the city attorney's office could only provide one other example of a traffic blocking activist facing charges out of over 200 similar cases in her tenure.
We really believe that there's some very troubling bias here. It's anti-Palestinian bias.
We tried to speak to Feinstein Soto about this at her first press conference in over 3 months.
Yes, Heidi, this is Kate Cagle from Spectrum News 1. I want to ask you about some of the freeway protests that your office is pursuing, the If Not Now protesters.
I was supposed to be out of here at 1 o'clock. I've got back-to-back meetings.
Okay, we're not getting answers from your office on these questions, and we have stories.
I don't comment on pending litigation, as you know.
In 2023, a union protest blocked traffic outside LAX for hours. City leaders like Councilmember Hugo Soto Martinez participated, placed in handcuffs, but never charged. Flynn has represented traffic blocking activists for 25 years and says her clients have never been prosecuted for peaceful actions, instead told to stay out of trouble in exchange for keeping a clean record. She points to Feinstein Soto's own pro-Israel tweets like this one after October 7th that condemned the attacks and added every nation and every moral person must support Israel defending her people. That tweet was later deleted.
Of course, public officials have a right to speak on whatever issue they want. But once they come out on one side of something, if they're only criminally charging and going after people who disagree with them, that becomes a problem.
Feinstein Soto disputes the bias allegations.
They're alleging that you're prosecuting them because you disagree with their message. We want to give you an opportunity
to prosecute on content, ma'am. You know that.
Okay, I'd never prosecute on content, but it seems like you are. Charges have not been dropped yet, but it's a fight worth having. You can tweet at her. Clearly, she's still on Twitter, and she's still in her position. And that might seem bad, but it's not the worst pro-Israel sentiment we've seen here in the city of LA. In fact, the deputy mayor of public safety has recently, this week, pled guilty to calling in a fake bomb threat to City Hall, which is absolutely insane. His name is Brian Williams, which is very funny because I'm like, what is it about every Brian Williams that makes them do false flags? The point is,
they always lie.
Brian Williams,
bigly.
Yes, they go big. Brian Williams, 61, will admit to a single count of threats regarding fire and explosive and could face a maximum of 10 years in prison, according to a plea deal filed Thursday. Former city attorney Williams was tasked as a deputy mayor with overseeing the city's public safety, including Los Angeles police and fire departments, port and airport police, emergency management and department. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass appointed him to the role in February 2023. He served also as the executive director of the Los Angeles County Sheriff Civilian Oversight Commission as a deputy mayor in a prior administration. Kind of important. So here's what he did. On October 3rd, he allegedly used a Google Voice number on his personal cell phone to call his city-issued phone. So he called himself. So the city device would log a call from an unknown number. He then called the Los Angeles Police Department chief of staff and said he'd gotten a call from a man who made a bomb threat against LA City Hall. After calling the police, Williams texted the mayor and several other high-ranking officials with the false report. According to the plea agreement, he wrote, quote, "Bomb threat. I received a phone call on my cell at 10:48 a.m. this morning. The male caller stated he was, quote, tired of the city's support of Israel and decided to place a bomb in City Hall. It might be in the rotunda."
It tells them where it is.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It might be.
And I'll give you the code to deactivate it if you answer me.
I mean, that's what he
these
said.
questions 3.
It's a fucking Riddler.
You had to record a video of yourself saying from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free.
From the river to the sea, answer me these questions 3.
It might be in the rotunda is giving big like Ben Stiller like from Cable Guy like I think they were Asian. Sorry, very random deep cup. The point is,
Gotta watch Cable Guy.
holy shit, this guy's no longer in office. The city attorney is still in office. These are the kinds of people who are, obviously, we're in a city where LAPD were called on UCLA students. It's just wild. I mean, Rachel, let me kick it to you because does this feel like wild to you? Is it kind of like, yeah, I've seen worse?
You know, this city has a reputation for a lot of strange happenings and corruption. I think, obviously, this fake bomb threat is comical. I mean, I was out for a week. I just got back from vacation last night, so I missed all of that happening, and reading about it today, I was like, oh my God, you leave LA for 1 week, and there's this like fake bomb threat. Yeah, the in the rotunda's nuts, give them a map and everything. Also using a Google Voice number registered to you, by the way. Like that's not, I mean, get a VPN. What year is it? We all know how to do this. So he just...
I was in incognito mode.
Yeah, I thought that worked. So that was nuts. The Heidi stuff, par for the course, if you follow her and you know her work. The back-to-back meetings thing was so nuts to me. Like, I gotta go, I'm in back-to-back meetings. Everything's on Zoom now, and you know that, so you...
Wait, but also wait that she listened to where they were, because when she said, I'm from Spectrum One, she was still interested. Okay, hi. I want to ask you about the charges on the protester. Goodbye, I've got a meeting. Like, there's a moment where she realizes what's being asked.
Well, especially, and shout out to Kate Cagle, because she is an incredible reporter, one of the best in the city, doing this type of work and actually asking the right people the right questions at the right time. So we need her reporting more than ever. So I'm really grateful to her. But yeah, I mean, it's insulting. She clearly has a bias. This is, if I was that judge, I would be pissed. Like, this is a waste of my time. There's so many other things to be focusing on. You're obviously biased. You should not be prosecuting these cases. It will get thrown out, I hope, I think, because it's obvious. I mean, the tweets are there, you can delete them, but just like incognito mode, that's not how it works. There's obviously
what was it,
screenshots.
600 other similar blockings of highways and protests?
You just get, fisticuffed, and then they tell you, stay out of trouble.
Yeah,
and
you basically, it stays, I believe, a violation unless you have another violation or a misdemeanor within like a year. I was arrested once in my activist days. It's bonkers. And like, it also feels, I mean, the other thing is we may not have time for our game about Hollywood, but it is interesting, like we're still in a town where a lot of people are scared to speak out or say something. And John, in media, it also feels like we're in this moment of like you either have you have like media outlets that are like, we're covering Trump 24/7 all the time, and all the awful things, which we should, but then we're completely silent on Gaza, and it's like this line, like I'm thinking of the big rising stars like Midas Touch and Bulwark and all these sort of like centristy, whatever. And I feel like some of the distinction that I feel like you're reporting, my reporting, obviously Matt, is like, okay, we talk about this fucking genocide. Yeah. And in terms of Hollywood too, you're like, this whole industry is dying and you're still worried about not getting a job because you spoke out about children being bombed.
Yeah, the amazing thing is how in their actions they reveal how desperately they want the enemies to be what they imagine. Like they would say, you're a radical, you believe in sane things. And what do they have? They have a bomb threat they have to call in because the other side isn't violent. They wish it was. They wish you guys were doing that, but you don't because you're not the violent ones. Right. They're supporting the violence. And they have peaceful protesters on a highway. And even that minor inconvenience sends them into just setting fire to all of their supposed values. They don't care about free speech, free assembly, all of that. Because even though they're getting everything they want, Israel is doing everything they want. The plan is there. They're going to move everyone out. They're going to take all the land. That's not enough. You also have to shut up while they're doing it. Yeah. Like, you literally can't organize. You can't impede them a second as they get what they've been working for so many years.
Not only were those protesters peaceful, but they were also Jewish. Yeah. Which is like
that probably angers them even more.
Right. And see, that's the other thing is like now they are stuck with this. Like the reason this is going to take a while, I think, is because they're like, are we really doing this? Are we really gonna arrest and prosecute a bunch of Jews for blocking off the freeway? Like it is insanely bad optics for them. So instead, it just seems like they're filibustering until they figure out what to do. I was supposed to be there, by the way.
Wow, you were supposed to be.
I was really early in the morning.
The hero. You stayed home. You were like, I'll be the one at home, guys.
Yeah, I was like, you guys need someone on the ground at home doing tweets.
Some of us have to be on the ground.
Yeah. No, I literally, I took the train, because I've done 2 other actions, both of which were supposed to be red actions where you get arrested. Both of those did not get arrested. And then this one, I was like, I was supposed to drive some people, and then it was like super early, and I was like, I'm tired.
Yeah. It was never going to happen.
You were fighting the Radiohead front of that war.
Exactly. I'm fighting the Radiohead front. I'm trying to get Tom to make a statement.
You guys,
it worked.
You did it. We have to move on. My next guest needs this video introduction so you can understand the kind of fire that she brings.
This didn't happen overnight. If you think Trump and Elon just snapped their fingers and started destroying our democracy, I need you to wake up. They didn't break the system. They're operating it exactly as it was designed. This administration and the chaos they've unleashed are the product of decades of policies that protect corporate profits over people, policies that let billionaires buy elections, policies that crush working people under the weight of debt, poverty, and exploitation, all while the rich get richer. I love this city. I was born and raised in this city, and I ride for my city every day. But if you think LA doesn't feel the impact of those policies because of our so-called progressivism, I hate to break it to you. Look around. Ask the person next to you if they have a savings. Ask them if they're buried in student debt. Ask them if they can afford rent, if they have health care, if they think they'll ever be able to buy a house in this city. This administration wants you to believe that the reason you can't buy eggs is because of your immigrant neighbor. They want you to blame trans folks for your troubles, blame unhoused people for the housing crisis, blame anyone but the people actually profiting from our pain. You know what I say to that? Bullshit.
Please welcome Councilmember for District 1. You had to wait. Eunisses Hernandez, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate this. I want to ask you, kind of in this similar vein, I think it was really important that you were at that Fight Oligarchy tour because you were a politician who comes from an organizing background, and that I think a lot of people need that fight right now. We're not seeing that from the top. And so it was very inspiring that you were there and you said exactly what you said. I want to ask you, just getting really into the gritty right now about the impact of this, of really fascism coming down on the city of LA, especially when it comes to the immigrant community. You know, we know this is a sanctuary city, but at the same time, there are ICE raids constantly popping off, and sometimes I'm like, okay, is that in which municipality of the, is that the county, is it, you know, and you're like, but it's like, it doesn't matter. This is a blue state, this is a, you know, blue city, and people are being terrorized. what has, what city council been doing, and what have you been doing? How have you been supporting your constituents, and where do we go from what in terms of defense here?
That's a great question. Thank you for asking it, especially with everything that's happening. So during Trump's first administration, Mayor Garcetti made the city into a city of sanctuary, which was, we will not use our city staff, our policies, our resources to implement federal immigration enforcement laws. But that wasn't permanent. And so if a new administration came in, like a Rick Caruso, for example, he could just take that away from us. And so me and my colleagues worked very hard to pass a city ordinance to make Los Angeles a sanctuary city for real. But I want to be very clear on that. Although we are a sanctuary city, the federal government could do whatever they want. ICE doesn't need LAPD to do their job. They don't need our databases to do their job. They've already been having access to our databases, the information of where our people live. Our immigrant communities, they pay millions upon millions of dollars in taxes through ITINs. They can find people. It's not about if they can or not, they can. And we can pass the policies that we want, and there are protections, and we're covering the loopholes, and we're investing in know your rights education, but the defense is gonna be really at the block by block level. We have people putting pictures of ISIS here. Oftentimes it's like 20, 15 minutes after the incident has happened. By then it's too late to do anything. And so what we've been trying to invest in is block by block, know your rights and education, because what we've seen is that in places where people know their rights, ICE is having a hard time getting them. But we just saw them in San Diego. They were using smoke bombs today and flashbangs. They are taking our people. And what I really would hope is that we can model more of what places like Chicago do, the things that they do, literally hooking themselves up arm by arm, stopping these vehicles. And that's a lot to ask. That's putting your body on line. That's putting our bodies on the line. But from how the administration is moving, that's, I think, going to be one of the only real ways we're going to keep people together. And even then, this administration has shown that they are not forgiving and that they don't have any mercy. And I just want us to be very clear about that. We can't keep pretending that it's not happening. It's happening right before our eyes in this county, in Pomona and Home Depot. Yeah. It's happening. We need to do the work.
Absolutely. And it's crazy because my mind is always well, if the cops won't participate in the raids, could they maybe help stop the raid? I mean, we got all this money for the cops. I want to talk about the budget a little bit. Maybe they could get in the way. That's a dream, right?
That's a dream, yes.
Okay, that's a dream. Not necessarily.
What a crazy turn of events that would be.
I mean, it would be great if they solved crime.
I want to ask about, maybe let's talk about your time in office, because the last time you were actually on my show and you were running and you beat Gil Cedillo, who was an incumbent. You're now running for re-election because this is your last year. And everybody listening, please support. And I wanna ask you about you come from an organizer background. You're the daughter of immigrants. What is it like actually being in the halls of power now? What's the tea? What's the thing you didn't expect? Not all the tea, I know you can't, but what's the thing you didn't expect, and what should we know as people who are not where you are?
What I would say is that there is more power than we can even imagine being in these positions. Literally, the condition of your life is run by the government, whether it's the local, county, or state level, federal level. And we know that, right? When we think about Medicare, when we think about those things, yes, those are direct impacts. But the quality of your life, whether there's trash or weeds or whether the lights work, that is all local. But even then, the power that is there, it is so, how do I say this? It is up for sale. And so one of the most shocking things to me that I tried to avoid was in my first campaign, I didn't take any special interest group money. Not a single dollar from developers, real estate. We refunded that back because I crack under pressure. But I'm no, if they put me between a hard rock, a place in a corner, I don't know what'll happen. But I see corporations, lobbyists making calls to colleagues on the council floor and votes changing. I see that those corporations, special interest groups, will lobby and invest in my colleagues so much that even the arguments that they use in chambers don't make sense. But they're arguing for the wrong things. And so that to me has been the most shocking of like how powerful actually money is, and how we need to get more of us in these seats that are not sold out. Because whether we have rent control, that is up to our local government. I asked Gavin Newsom once about rent control, and his answer was like a 5-minute dance to tell me, well, no, that's not, we're not doing that. And so I think for me that has been the most shocking, but it's also for me the most liberating because I don't get those calls.
Yeah.
They're not calling me to do things, and that helps me fight.
I wanted to talk to you about, because I think one of the ways I saw that take place was in the votes that came down after the fires. Obviously, we're just a few months out of these incredible fires. Thousands, 13,000 homes lost. Tens of thousands displaced. We're gonna have Denton on in just a second. And I'm so sorry because we're feeling rushed for time, and I wish we could stay here for a lot longer. But I'm just gonna name that. But you saw when people were speaking for rent control in the city, because the county was able to pass it, but the city was not. It was like person who represented landlord after landlord after landlord after realtor after realtor, and then like one person, and was always like, I'm a mom and pop landlord, I only have $4 million, and like and then you're like, oh shit, and then you see people who are like, trying to get their public comment in or whatnot, and they're completely outnumbered because that's not their job. Whereas these like representatives of big real estate, that's their job day in and day out. So anyway, but I did want to ask you about looking in the future. LA, we're still gonna have the Olympics somehow, but I think a lot of us are scared. Like, damn, is this city not prepared for something like these wildfires? And as climate change and inequality sort of, collide as they have, and we've seen, like, what is the way forward? What's the vision for really making the city safe and livable? I mean, it's a huge question, but just as per climate and preparedness.
Well, let me tell you about stuff that's messed up and then the good stuff.
Please.
Right, what we could do. So, and I'm sure some of y'all have heard this and me say this already, but it takes us 10 years to fix a sidewalk in the city of LA. That's if your sidewalk gets on the fix-it list. 3 to 5 years to install a blue handicap curb, which is just painting a sign. It takes us a year to fix a street light. We can't chew gum and walk as a city if you compared us to other cities like Chicago, Boston. Like we don't do things very well because there has not been incentives to invest in our city, invest in the infrastructure of our city. So you ask about the Olympics. How are we gonna host thousands of people when right now it takes us 10 years to fix a sidewalk? We don't have enough buses to go around, Our transit system is one that we have not invested in both at the city level or at the county level, right? We need that. If there's gonna be a no-car Olympics, we need transportation. There's a lot of pieces that we also don't have. Let me take one step back and also say, we are spending lots of money on paying out lawsuits because we don't fix our city.
Yeah.
A piece of a light pole fell on somebody, it costs us $21 million to pay out that lawsuit. $21 million is the entire bureau that oversees all the copper wire theft and reinforcing our street pole system. And so our city is broken, the Olympics are coming. I don't know how we're gonna handle the Olympics, and we're gonna be left with a bag of debt, but, I'm not in favor of the Olympics. I know people have different thoughts. We want to see as much investment as we can from the Olympics, but this will be a Donald Trump Olympics. Do not get that twisted. If the Olympics are coming, we're going to need federal resources. But this is the good part, right? And this is the budget part, because everybody says my tax dollars pay for the government, my tax dollars pay for City Hall. You're right, they do. And do you know that 45% of your locally generated tax dollars or general funds go to LAPD, and less than 0.5% goes into the entire Bureau of Street Lighting? That's your tax dollars right there locally. And so this is the fight that is the good part that I'm excited about, that we just finished a budget process where we cut LAPD hiring in half.
Yeah.
And we were able to use that money to invest in our graffiti removal, after school programs, unarmed crisis response teams, so you could have appropriate teams answer mental health crises. So that's the opportunity I see, that for the next few budget cycles, because we are in a budget crisis, because we're so broke, is a moment for fiscal responsibility. We would have never been able to do that police hiring cut if it wasn't because we were in such a crisis, and that's the good part.
Right.
We have many opportunities coming up to fix our city, and to make it hopefully handle the events that are coming. But the Olympics are not the only thing coming. The Super Bowl, the World Cup. There's so many things, and
I
beyond
forgot
that,
about the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
How did I fucking forget?
all of those, and that's next year. The World Cup is next year, and we have not built the housing where we need to house our folks. They're gonna try to disappear people on the streets. We've seen it.
Paige, can you just go forward to? I think we're gonna solve the transportation question. I don't know.
Their stocks are increasing. You know that?
Yeah, this is
They're
called
booming.
This is the Joby. This is a personal helicopter system they're gonna roll out for the Olympics.
Wait, what is it called? Joby?
Joby. Yay!
Yeah, helicopters that rhyme with Kobe. Smart. Smart for LA.
Oh my God.
I'm allowed to say that. I loved him.
Can I just
Until,
add something
you know.
about the Olympics?
There is so much. Yes,
Can I just
please,
add,
please.
Just quickly about the Olympics, because, and I know that you ended that on a very positive note, but I want to bring us back a little bit. The Olympics is already running over projected costs, and we, taxpayers in this room, will be picking up the bill for any of the overages. Yes. So we will be paying more. Anytime we have an event like the Olympics, it is a national special security event, which means that DHS will be on the ground here in LA. So I think any gains that we can make in terms of an abolitionist city, which I want and you want as well, and many people want, will most likely be undone by the fact that the Olympics will be Trump's Olympics. And he will want to disappear people and will want to invest more money into bullshit like that, these cars, these gondolas, helicopters, things like that. So I want to keep progressing into an abolitionist future, but the last 8 years that they had to prepare for the Olympics as a city, they didn't take that opportunity. We have 3 more years to prepare, and I think it's gonna be as messy as it's been. And I feel like any progress we make, if the Olympics happen, because I push back on the idea that they will be
Meaning it might
undone.
not? Ooh, give me a percentage.
It just doesn't have to. We can decide that it's not going to happen. We can decide that. We didn't get to decide. We are literally in control of the city. We are in control. It's our neighbors, it's our communities, it's our council members that we get elected who fucking rock. And that's who gets to make the decisions. So I don't know if they'll happen. We have 3 years to make sure that they don't happen.
Yeah.
In my mind.
Yeah, I love it. Look, we have to bring out, because he's been waiting so patiently, he is a member of the Rent Brigade, which is an awesome organization that sprung up after the fires in the wake of all of this, in the face of all of this price gouging on the rental market. Mm-hmm. Please welcome Denton Cohen, our final chair. He's so far away. Really quick, because I feel like the Rent Brigade, Denton, is like a hopeful story, but tell me about how you guys formed.
Yeah, so, really cool. I want to shout out Chelsea Kirk, who I think is here in the audience today. She's a terrific tenant advocate and organizer who, while the fires were still burning, thought to herself, I bet there are some landlords taking advantage of this, and so she got on Zillow, and what she found was that not only were there a bunch of units that were already on the market that landlords were deciding to jack up the prices on, but she was also finding that a bunch of new listings were entering the rental market suddenly at extraordinarily high prices because they knew that there were desperate people out there, some of them wealthy from the Palisades, and that they'd pay whatever price was out there. And so she created a spreadsheet, a public spreadsheet, and put it on Instagram, sort of expecting that some of her tenant organizer buddies would maybe put in a few listings, because it's all on Zillow. We can see it, and it kind of went viral, which is really cool. And that's how I found out about it. A friend sent it to me and was like, "Yo, look at what's going on! People are exposing these landlords."
There are 1,500 lists. There's over 1,500 listings right now.
So,
which is wild. It keeps going and keeps getting added to. So tell me maybe some of the most egregious price gouging stories or.
Yeah, so I'm glad you're sitting down, because unfortunately the number is actually over 10,000 at this point. It just passed that this week. These are confirmed. Yeah, these are listings that again publicly on Zillow. We scrape Zillow every day, so we're seeing new listings come out of the market every day.
It's not just me dreaming. It's
exactly.
Also
it's very real. And so we're over 10,000 listings that have been illegally rent gouged. And just to make that clear, price gouging is illegal. vacant units, it doesn't matter. Until 2026, January 7th, 2026, the 1-year anniversary, because we're under a state of emergency. In the state of California, you cannot post a rental unit that is over 160% of fair market rate, and you cannot raise the price of a unit by more than 10%, right? 10,000 instances of this happening. And so I'll give you my favorite example of rent gouging. So there was someone who had kind of the misfortune of posting a rental listing on January 7th, like the day the fires broke out. It was a 3-bedroom in Santa Monica, about $3,000, right, a month. January 8th, they raised that shit by $900. Wow. $900. And then January 9th, they raised it by $1,000 more. $1,000 more. And so, there are too many of these cases to count, and it's not just these individual listings that are so egregious. We have corporate landlords who, have dozens of these units that they have illegally gouged across LA. Including Steve Witkoff, who is mentioned on this show all the time. I mean, he's, one of Trump's buddies who, they have...
trying to do peace in the Middle East. Let him price gouge.
Yeah. I mean, and so he's, he's doing that shit right here in LA, and he's trying to export that to Gaza. So, these are the people that we're talking about here. And we'll get into this, but we're not enforcing these laws. It's out in the open, and they're getting away with it.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask Eunisses. Where's our law? That's the thing is, you see, there's a cavalier nature to the landlords. They don't think that, they don't have the fear of God. They don't have the fear of eviction. They know they can kind of get away with it. And yes, there's going to be public shaming, which is awesome. But what's the recourse? I mean, is City Hall aware? Do we know that this is happening?
Yes, we actually used that database to try to pass ordinance after the fires to prevent evictions and prevent rent increases. I couldn't get it passed in the council. I couldn't, because corporate landlords like AGLA, which is the apartment associations, boo, hell yeah, they are so powerful and so messed up. You have no idea. The reason why we don't have rent control is because of these landlords. And 75% of all housing stock here in the city of LA that's a rental unit is owned by a corporate landlord like Blackstone. And I tried. At the county, they did it.
70%?
75% of all rental units are owned by people like or corporations like Blackstone that impact what policies we can or cannot pass.
Because I think that's the other thing, Denton, and we have to wrap, but I think a lot of we're talking about, okay, who's rebuilding and who, Matt's sister was displaced, her home burned out, but also they had the privilege of having a home. When we think about the renters, I mean, what about the people, affected by the Eden fires who rented? It seems like their stories certainly didn't make the news at the time, but maybe.
Absolutely, and I think what we're seeing now is sort of the natural outcome of a rental market in LA that, number one, does not have enough we do not have enough housing here. Yeah. But housing is housing is a commodity in our economy. It's not a right. It's not treated as a right. And so when you have commodified housing, when you take over 10,000 homes off the market because they burnt down, and when you have tens of thousands of people who are without a home, we live in a capitalist economy, supply and demand, right? And so landlords are using this to reset the rental market in LA. And let's be very clear. We have rent control, we have an RSO, and so when you have a vacant unit during normal times, you can raise the rent on that as much as you want, and that's why these landlords are harassing tenants to try to get them out of their rent-controlled units. But this price gouging law is really important because it prevents landlords from raising the rent more than 10%. And unfortunately, Heidi Feldstein-Soto was mentioned earlier. Mm-hmm. She's choosing to not enforce this law. And I think we should be really clear about that.
Oh, we have other reasons to tweet at her.
We have so many reasons.
I love this.
She's also up for election.
Yes, she is.
There's a phenomenal lawyer named Marissa Roy who's running against her.
Say her name one more time.
Marissa Roy.
Marissa Roy. All right. Love it. Eunisses, I have a million other questions for you, but can you just give us some parting words and also tell us how people can support you in your campaign for re-election?
Thank you. Yes. So, if you would have asked me my first year, I would have been like how I'm doing, how I like it. I would have been like, I fucking hate it here. But now I'm in year 3, having to launch a re-election. And what I can say is that being in this position, it really is an opportunity to fight for our communities, fight to keep people in their housing, fight to have a good quality of life, nice streets. Like, that is not impossible. And that's what I'm finding out, that a lot of the things that we have felt have been impossible for so long are not. It's just that the people in power haven't given a fuck about that, haven't cared about us, because they're lining their pockets. And I don't say that as an exaggeration. I truly say that people benefit off not caring about our people. And so if you could please support us, I am the #1 target of billionaires and corporations here in the city of Los Angeles. There's a PAC called Thrive LA that's being funded by people like Rick Caruso and other billionaires that know that they can't call me and I won't fold. So they want to take me out. So as many people as we can have knocking doors, making calls. If you can, please donate. If you live in the city, you donate $143, we multiply it by 6 because that's what we do as a city to get candidates in that are from the community. So please support us, help us beat these corporations and billionaires, and help us fight for a better budget that meets the needs of our city. And I just, again, thank you so much for having me. And we can do this. We can fight for our city, and we will. And, I know that things seem kind of like really gloomy right now because of what's happening in the federal government. It's fucked up, not just gloomy, but the defense.
I like gloomy is a really sweet way. It's like a very Winnie the Pooh storybook way of saying.
But it's fucked up. It's fucked up.
Kind of gloomy.
But there's so much crisis that we can fix here in the city, and that's where I believe the defense is, and that's where I'm gonna throw down. So I just need your help to do that.
Thank you, Eunisses. Guys, we had a whole last segment. We were gonna fix Hollywood, but we are being rushed out of a stage, off this stage. Please make it so loud for everyone you've seen here tonight. For Denton Cohen of the Rent Brigade. Denton, how can people find your work and support Rent Brigade?
We are at rentbrigade.org, and most importantly, we're on Instagram at The Rent Brigade. So go find us there. We also have hats at the merch table.
Ooh.
They say abolish landlords. That's what the hats say.
I love that. I love it. Rachel Reyes. Give it up for Rachel, everybody. I am a big fan of yours, Rachel. I love listening to the LA podcast. I really appreciate your insight. And more people need to listen to the LA podcast. So what else do you want to plug?
Oh, God. Definitely listen to the podcast. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple, etc. Also, join us at No Olympics LA. We are fighting against the Olympics and gentrification and displacement and the militarization of police and all of that stuff. Find out who your council member is, if they are bad, if they are someone like Tracy Park in CD11 like mine.
I'm sorry.
Volunteer for Fiza. She is running against Tracy Park. Join us on phones, on calls, all of the things. Figure out who is your representative. If they don't align with you and your values, then get them out of office and elect someone who does.
Yes. Thank you. John, we haven't spoken politics in public in a couple months now. Mm-hmm. But thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for the invite. Love doing it.
I didn't hear what he said.
I was mocked by an SNL person with that nickname. But thank you for the invite. It's always a pleasure.
John, any parting words of wisdom?
From me?
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's expecting that. I'm certainly not.
Well, Lord of the Rings quote.
There were so many points along the journey where they could have turned back. But they didn't, because they remembered there's good in this world and it's worth fighting for.
I didn't realize how fucking nerdy the thing between you, like having both of you on would be.
Oh, Miss Behind.
No.
All right.
Don't speak Elvin on this stage. Not to me, but that was great. Matt Lieb, everybody working. Oh, please listen and watch The Damage Report with John Iadarola. Matt Lieb.
Listen to the Bitchuation Room with Francesca Fiorentini. Join the Patreon, the patreon.com/TBR
No, is it the Bitchuation? I don't know it. But I know, all I know is that we have a joint bank account. So please support her. And if you want to hear two anti-Zionist Jews talking shit about Israeli propaganda, then listen to Bad Hasbara, the world's most moral podcast.
Hell yeah. And please give it up for Paige Omek, our producer. To Andy Vasoyan, our podcast editor, is here all the way from Chicago, wherever he is. And Rebecca Roofer is here. She was taking pictures. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you to the Elysian Theater. Thank you, everybody. I'm Francesca Fiorentini. That's been our show.